Well, hello. We are live. Tractor Talk is back in session. How's everybody doing? I see there's one person here. I know it's a little bit late, but I got to get my daughter to bed before I can start any live sessions. So that's what I am usually doing in the evening if I'm not working a double shift. But we've got a few people in. Not sure. Lee Harris is here. Rex Kramer, Brent Erickson. Brent says it's past his bedtime. I'm sorry. Matt, the Scrat Whisperer is here. Did you ever pick up them rims and tires, Matt? Sorry it took me so long to get back to you. Double shifts and everything got the best of me, so it happens. I'm not always the most prompt with email, but it's just because it quickly gets buried when I'm not constantly in it. So Bryce Wyborg's here. 1950C is here. Not yet. Had a hot water tank failure. Oh, man. Not good. I'm guessing it's on your hot water heater. Not good. Bryce Wyborg says fourth finger. Hot water supply for the house. That stinks. Well, I'm sure you'll get it fixed quickly if you haven't already, so. Sorry, I was just reading a quick blurb on yesterday's Tractors website. But, anyways, one thing at a time. Matt says the hot water heater is done. Rebuilt it himself instead of buying a new $700 tank. Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a that's a bill, an unexpected bill. Lee says, "Do we have enough snow now?" Yeah, I think so. The looks like we've got more coming later this week, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And it could dump up to a foot or more on Grand Forks from what I'm seeing. So chances are we could get a good amount of snow here too. Did I break the M out for the driveway? I cannot even get to the M. Um, I should have pulled the battery out of it and put it on the charger like a week ago, but I can't even. The snow is waist deep. I can't even get to it. So, no. And it's actually supposed to be almost 50 degrees tomorrow. So I let the driveway alone. Half of it's going to melt. So I really don't care at this point. After we've had almost 100 inches of snow, I don't care anymore. I'm tired of snow blowing and, oh man, shoveling. My back hurts already. Bryce says he only got 5 inches of snow. Yeah, we've got probably 10 at least, 10 inches or better. Rex says he could use a little more snow. John Deere D says 9 to 11 feet here for the winter. Yeah, I can believe it. You're a little bit east of me, but kind of east, northeast, I think, or northeast. Hate to say it, but I was in Tucson today for a show, 82 degrees. Well, we'll get there. Middle of June, maybe late May. Rudy is here. Hello, Rudy. How are you? Been working double shifts. You know the drill. Can't flinch now. Winter might think it can win. Darn right. This might be the ice age coming. You had 14 inches over in Wisconsin. Yeah, that's quite a bit. Brent says he didn't get any of it. Well, you guys have had your share of snow up there. You've got to have at least 6 feet on the ground right now, I would think. In the woods. Jeff Weinstock's in the house. Yeah, how about that for a April Fool's joke? 10 to 18 inches of snow. Rex said he got 3 to 4 inches. Well, that's a lot less than what we got, but Darren DeHart's in the house. Oh yeah, it's just snow. It'll melt. It'll be gone within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Ryan Fedrick's in the house. Larry McDonald's in the house. 1928 Farmall Ben's in the house. Tractor Hyatt's in the house. Owen's in the house. Hey, Owen, how are you? Daniel Will's in the house. Man, they keep popping up. Awesome. Good to see everybody. Daniel Will. What's everybody up to? 1950C says most of the snow is melted in North Idaho. And not here. We don't even know. Like when I drive into my neighborhood, the pine trees that are, oh gosh, 8 to 10 feet at least, probably 12 feet high, they're half buried. At least half buried. I should take a video of that when I go out tomorrow of how high the snow is along the road. And no snow here in Florida. Tim Howe's in the house. Good to see you, Tim. I hope all is well. Hope you're staying safe in whatever you're doing. Tim, I used to work with Tim at the prison. He's a good dude. Good dude. Farmall Ben says he got some disking done in Nebraska today. John Deere D says hopefully it's gone by Wednesday night. We have our monthly meeting at Hungry Hollow. Driveways are already soft. Yeah, I know. That top layer is melting away, but plenty cold deep down yet. Well, I don't know. Maybe we don't have as low of a frost line because there's so much snow to insulate the ground, because we've had a consistent layer of snow since, I don't know, Christmas, a foot or more deep. Darren says trying to get the cast hub off the axle of the 44A. Yeah, that splined axles was probably one of the worst designs of John Deere as far as friendliness. Paul says he took the Marty the Cub out of the snowbank and discovered the Chinese carb needs attention. McLean Farms Ryan's in the house. Most of the snow we got this morning melted this afternoon. That would be a good video. Been on the northwest end of the state. Less snow than I have. Yeah, I can imagine up there. It gets pretty windblown. Evan Kibb is already taken off. Thanks for stopping by, Evan. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm ready for spring to get into town here. We've been dealing with snow since middle of October, and it just seems like it's been a really long year, long winter. Barrett says there's no frost there. Roads are already frost free. Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of frost here. May 4th, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't think it went as deep this year because there was so much snow to insulate it. Busy as usual. Rudy is always busy. I don't think there's ever been a time where I've gone to Rudy's and haven't seen plenty of work waiting. So, hey, we got no snow last night here in central Minnesota. What? How did you get no snow? I'm in east central and I got dumped on. Some years I've planted peas by now. Yeah, not to, unless you're doing them in the little, you know, flower starter pots inside the house. This year we're not going to be planting anything. Although in the flower gardens at work, some of the hostas are starting to come up already, but those things are so indestructible. I mean, it's been a long winter. Spent more time moving snow around than anything. I know. I got friends that have dug fence posts by hand, only a couple inches of frost. After that is easy digging in north central North Dakota. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how frozen the ground is because, like I said, we've had so much snow cover for so long, it probably protected it during the deep freeze of January, late December and January, where it was below zero forever. Hyatt wants to know if the Magneto business picks up for you in the spring when people start working on their tractors after a long winter. Oh, I can imagine. And then there's always the rush during show season of people that just took them out of storage to get them fired up for the shows and found issues and got maybe 12 flakes last night, says Steve. Not a bit of frost in the ground up here under the snow. I pushed banks back and dug up sod. Yeah, I hit that, but that was the video I was making with the Farm All M. That was the beginning of the winter that I did that. I'm not trying to complain about the snow after the drought we had 2 years ago, cutting dead hay in July. Don't ever want that again. Yeah, I bet. Dry and hot and oh my gosh, miserable. The only reason I'm disking now instead of later is so we can get 2 crops of oat out of one field. Well, get at it early, you get 2 crops out. You know, that's good production. Working on 2 W9s, a 52 WD9, and a gas W9. That's a lot of work on a couple of big machines. Those were the big dogs back in the day. And please consider doing a video to let your fans know what you have been up to, especially the good news of your graduation. I agree. I think Ben, I'm sure he's got some archive footage. He just hasn't released it yet. Let's hope the drought's over for the country. Yeah, no kidding. It looks like the West Coast is actually doing really well, so that's a good thing. Ben says he plans on releasing some videos. Planning on making a video tomorrow addressing that. I won't start doing any field work for my operation until at least mid-April, but I plan on videoing. Heck yeah. And you got to talk about the project you just finished. That's a big deal. You sent the club some videos, but got to put that stuff out there. Drought's over in California for sure. Good. Maybe we can talk some sense into a lot of people. Let's not get political. Making field days in May. Me? You're asking if I'm making field days in May? Well, I don't know who or what is going to be hosted. I think Squatch usually does his in the fall. So I'm going to try to get the H to that one. Other than that, it'll just be the shows. And I'm not sure if I'm bringing the case to the shows this year or not. I definitely have to bring the H. But I don't know. The case, I want to tear it apart and get started on it, but I'm working so much double overtime that when am I going to have the time to tear it apart? You know, I could probably have most of it down in 2 weekends, but that's putting it back together. That takes a long time. Disassembly doesn't take long at all. Got the 36B done and out of the shop. Pushed in the slant dash A yesterday before the snow got going. Got to get it going for the show. Planning on having 8 tractors at Hungry Hollow this year. Heck yeah. Did you ever get the D button back up? I know you had an issue with the head gasket. There's 5% more moisture in the atmosphere since some volcano eruption in the Pacific. Well, whatever. We'll take the moisture. 2 months till STEAM school. Am I ready and excited? I am not ready, but I'm definitely excited. Yeah, Ben, get the 800 out there. I don't know how much video you took of that thing, but that would have been a great restoration series if you took video of the whole thing. Good luck with the slant dash A, Barrett. Hopefully get the head back soon. Did the head crack, or was it not milled completely flat? Valve seats bad? Resurfacing it? I guess I never got filled in on that, but I'm just hoping the snow is gone in a month for the school day at the Hawk Museum on May 5th. Might be a little sloppy yet. Yeah, it's probably going to be pretty sloppy. Oh, the head was warped. Gotcha. Logan's in the house. Welcome. Good to see you, Logan. Barrett just sent me a photo of the B. Rear steel and spoked fronts. Looks good. Looks good. I'm hoping most of the snow is gone by the 27th for Le Sueur. I'm going regardless of the weather. Well, we're supposed to get more snow later this week. It's supposed to be warm tomorrow, but then the temperature is supposed to drop off for a few days. So that doesn't really help in melting when we're getting 1 day of warm and then 3 or 4 days of cooler weather with more snow. It kind of does this number. It snows a lot, it melts a little, snows a lot, melts a little. So it's creating more of a glacier than anything because it's getting all the snow layers wet and compacted, and then it just turns into ice. Like I've got a stack of hay bales out back that's probably 4 foot high, and I couldn't see them anymore. There's so much snow back in the swamp because there's so much buckthorn. It doesn't blow. It just compacts and keeps piling up. So down in that swamp, I got a stack of hay bales 4 feet high. I couldn't see the top of them anymore a week and a half ago, and I walked out there and I fell through the snow up on top of the hill, but down in that slough, it was frozen solid. I could walk straight across it, and them hay bales I never even saw. So there's a lot of snow down in my swamp. Might be the first time I own lakeshore property. Our front wheel weight's hard to find out there in Minnesota for the letter series. I've seen quite a few of them. I'm sure they come up on eBay or Facebook Marketplace a lot. You just got to be hunting for them. Get a hold of some salvage yards, you might find some. Probably going to call Nebraska Kirk tomorrow and see if he can fabricate me a flywheel installer of my own so I can have that regular ready to go by Red Power Roundup. What happened to the regular? Were you rebuilding the engine on that? I guess I didn't know. Funny you went live tonight. Just talking to my son today as we were working on the bee. Heck yeah. Well, I've got an e-learning day and a day off this week and was planning to get it working, but like my grades at the beginning of the school year, that went out the window in about 47 seconds. It happens, you know. It happens. I'll be at Le Sueur as well, rain or shine. Yep, Rudy's always there. Things are going good at the museum. Had a new 40 by 80 shop get stood up late last fall, hoping to get it usable in the next year or so. I'm hoping to get a shop within the next 2 years. Hoping. How did the pinata party go? It went well. It was really good. Everybody had fun. There was lots of candy. I had to retie the pinata because I put too much candy in it to hang from the hook. So, learning lesson there, just don't use the hook anymore and tie it all the way around like a cradle almost. Gonna put a bunk room and a kitchen and a full shower in the shop for people to come and stay at when they come work. That's an awesome idea. I'm back to going through the old McCormick catalogs. Each one is 600 pages. So this is taking a while. I can, yeah, that would be a time consuming deal for sure. 28 regular. A gasket between the bell housing and the engine block decided they wanted to not function anymore. So now I have to pull the clutch and flywheel and bell housing assemblies. Ooh, I've heard that can be a bear. Good luck. I never did get the flywheel off my F20. I tried. That's what I call a full service shop. Heck yeah. That would be good. A little bunkhouse in the shop, and that way everybody with all their expertise can all come and hang out and help out and get these projects done and keep everything operating. Bought the Slant Dash A at the first live auction after COVID for $500. Had it running once, but car meter work. Wiring is a rat nest, so not too much to get it going. Well, that's good. Looking forward to working on my new to me 29 regular this spring. Heck yeah. I always wanted a regular. I never intended on getting an F20, but I just got impatient and wanted to wrench on something of that era from International. So picked up the F20 and loved that tractor. It was a good tractor. After sitting for probably 50 to 60 years, it was amazing that I got it running with, realistically, fairly little work. Put a bunch of new gaskets in it and um, reshim the rods, check them all out. I took the pistons and rings out of a donor block that were in decent shape. Um, it was a lot of work, but I didn't replace a lot of stuff. Radiator core, that was expensive. Got that brand new from Rice Equipment. That was expensive, but you do it once, you probably won't have to do it again. So, had a Farmall W4, Farmall A, and Farmall Cub donated this year. Haven't had time to monkey with them except for the Cub. Hoping to make it run tomorrow. Just picked up a J4 for it. Yeah, I would love to get I'd like to get my daughter a Cub or a Super A. That way, I could get a little back blade for it or something and maybe do the driveway with it. But then she can use it at shows when she'll be driving them around not too long from now. So she'll probably start driving this year. So she's 4 now already. I can't believe it. She's 4 years old. So I'm going to shed the winter for 5 years. It's a ground up restoration. 49H is finally going in the shop this year. Awesome. Got the ultrasound done on the 25 horse Minneapolis last week that we brought home finally from Rolog last fall. Now waiting on inspection. Hopefully it goes good. Yeah, that'd be I'm excited to get into steam a little bit. I don't know if I'll ever own one. But I'm really excited to get into it so I can at least learn how to operate one and hopefully someday, be an engineer, a full-blown engineer that people trust. And I'm, lucky to make good friends in the steam community and help them with their operation. So I've got quite a few friends out there that would be more than willing, but never hurts to have a lot of people that, in a lot of different areas that I've always been told a steam engine owner is always happy and willing to hand over the operation of it so that they can take a break as long as it's somebody capable and trustworthy. Working on the F20 helped you pass time when I was laid up after getting crippled from a flat belt breaking. Oh man, wrong place, wrong time. That would definitely hurt. I'm glad that the F20 project could keep your sanity while being laid up. Still have my great grandpa's F30. It hasn't ran in a while, but it and my grandpa's Super A will be the last to leave. I will park those in a single car garage in the city before they're sold. Hey, that's that's where I started, a single car garage, and I did the case in there. I did the John Deere A in there. I worked on the H there. I worked on the M there. Most of the M work was done at Domino's, but I did work on the M a little bit there. And that was in a townhome. It wasn't even like a house. It was a townhouse. So there was 6 houses all attached in one complex. I'm sure my neighbors loved me at times. That's where the channel started too. I built several motorcycles in there. I think I built five motorcycles. Need to get my 29 GP done first. Jonathan W has been doing a lot of Steam videos lately. Yeah, I've watched him. He just finished 1 or 2 like large stationary steam engines. Hyatt says, I think a good first tractor for Ray to call our own would be one of those Farmall Cubs. Perhaps a white demonstrator model. Yeah, you never know. You never know what you might find out there. Demonstrators, I think, were only made in 1950, but sometimes you don't know you have a demonstrator till you start stripping the paint off it. Steam is expensive. We have 65,000 in our 1908 2585 Nichols and Shepard. It's definitely not a cheap hobby for sure. That's why I say maybe I'd be better off with a smaller Rumley or something like that. More manageable to haul. Also, once it's fixed, it's not like a steam engine. You don't have to keep paying the inspection fees and everything else to run them. You just have to be cognizant of what you're doing when you run them. That's any machine, really, but the older they are, the more things you have to pay attention to. It's not all automated and, just a warning light on the dash. Had to have surgery and skin grafts from that. Whole summer was laid up trying to belt start a regular with a Minneapolis U. Walked up behind to pull the clutch. When it let go, threw me 10 feet. Oh, boy. Yikes. I can remember Kenny living in the townhouse and going on tractor rides. Yeah, that's, I did that all the time. He did a count on how many steamers he has. I think he was up to 27, small to large. Jeez. That's a lot of steam engines, and that takes a lot of knowledge and money. But I bet I'm thinking the ones that they rescue out of like original power sources for factories and stuff. I would be willing to bet that a lot of those are probably had fairly inexpensively, or if not even donated, because they need to get them out, and it's either scrap them or pay somebody to take them out. I don't know. I guess I've never asked anybody that has worked on those, but I would assume a lot of the time they're donated. If you're willing to come get it out and we don't have to pay you to get it out of here, the actual cost of getting it out versus what it's worth in scrap, it may be better off for them as a company to just say, if you want to come and get it out of here on your dime, you can have it. Bryce, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. It'll be out there. The chat is on a live replay too, so you can just read the chat if you want and listen to the video. But Hyatt says, I remember some of the earlier videos when you worked out of the garage of your townhouse. Stepping back a few years, yeah, that was 5 years ago yesterday that we bought this house. So we officially moved in 5 years ago yesterday. Had the GP at show last year. It wasn't anything special, but it runs perfect. Was in a swap north of Ladysmith for 40 or so years. Wheels were rotted off. Yep. Those are the kinds I like to find. The ones that nobody should pay to fix. Those are the ones I like bringing back to life. Did find a picture of my grandma's dad sitting on a GP. It and the F30 worked together until the mid-50s. They were both sold off, but we managed to track it down and buy it back. That's the best, man. Gotta love it when a family tractor comes home. Probably a dumb question, but do you have to have insurance to operate or own a steam engine? I would have to say at 99% positive yes, but you would have to be dumb not to have insurance on something like that, simply because of the risk and the value, I think. Steam is very safe when operated by competent and aware people, and when everything is in good running condition, they're safe. As long as you have somebody operating it that knows what they're doing. So I think Steam probably is a requirement that you've got to. Yeah, Barrett's right. Some states still don't do inspections like we do in Minnesota. Um, I'm also part of I think actually Barrett and I might be part of the same club. I'm not sure. Um, but our club insurance covers my tractors when I take them to shows. But yes, I would assume even just for the value of the machine, I would assume people have insurance of their own. Steve says he's working on buying a 29 McCormick that's been sitting in a barn near him since the early 50s. Sounds like a good one to bring home. A good barn find. Alden Hay Farmer's in the house. How we doing, Alden? Hoping to dig into my McCormick Deering T20 this year. Motor's stuck. T20s are pretty rare. Pretty hard to find. Anyone know what a John Deere GP had for exhaust? I'm wondering what they had originally. Museums is straight pipe, kind of annoying. Well, I think there was a variety of exhausts that were available for them. I think the standard was just a short elbow with a slash cut, right? John Deere 2-cylinder National Club meeting is in Canan. I can never say that. Canandaigua, New York. Canandaigua. I did see something wild. 2023 New Holland T7 315 with a mega cutter mower set. The monthly payment was $4,500. Yeah. No way. I'll never even be able to buy a brand new pickup. Do you need a boiler license for steam tractors? In some states, yes. In Minnesota, yes. I believe Minnesota has what's called a hobbyist boiler license too, where you can, if you're just into hobbyist, like steam engines, then you can get that boiler's license. You don't need a full blown, boiler's license like you would if you were a plant maintenance engineer at a school or something. That would require a completely different boiler license. Our museum, we have to have a rider added to our insurance to cover the show. All equipment, steam, gas, etc. is covered for accidents. Makes sense. Makes sense. I wonder if most shows have to do that just because of the liability of having that equipment in operation on a piece of property that is owned by somebody. I wonder if that isn't a requirement in most areas. I'd be surprised if it wasn't in Minnesota just because of how restrictive we are with everything. My great uncles built a steam traction engine in the farm blacksmith shop back in 1912. That engine is on display in the town square of Cedar Vale, Kansas. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Built one from scratch. Evan's back. Dang, started working on my regular while you were about halfway through your F20. Still hard to fathom that was over 6 years ago. Yeah, I know. I started posting videos of my Case SC, I think, in 2007. So maybe 2008. Maybe 2008. So I've been on YouTube for quite a while. If I was trying to do this for money, this would be a very poor investment. I mean, I never really dedicated I think it could be a great channel, but I just don't have the time right now to dedicate to it. I have other obligations that I have to stay adhered to. So right now, I just don't have the time to blow the channel up. Nor do I have a truck and trailer. And I think if I was dragging tractors home every month, that my friends would probably be like, okay, I think it's time you get your own equipment to haul this stuff. Got the factory belt pulley on the T20. That's awesome. Honestly, I haven't seen a single thing about steam licenses here in Nebraska tractor wise. Only requirements for plants. Wisconsin, we're not required to be licensed, but our club requires all operators to have gone to steam school. Well, yeah, that would be a good thing. Unless you have a mentor, like your entire life you've been around steam and you just grew up as a kid operating it. But you still, I mean, there still should be some requirement because complacency, that's what gets you. It's one of my horrors. If I'm standing by a flat belt at a show and it were to let go, it wouldn't feel good, that's for sure. Darren says, didn't you rewire the A in the townhouse garage? I think so. I think I did the A, the H, the case. The M might have been at Domino's when I did it. Yeah, did a lot of work over there. Google Studer steam engine. You will see some good pictures of my great uncle's engine. Okay, I'll do it right now. Images. All I'm seeing are trains. All I'm seeing are trains. Oh gosh, that makes me feel old. In North Dakota, you need to have a boiler's license and inspections to operate in public. If you are at home, neither is required, I believe. Uh, yeah, I don't know about Minnesota as far as if you're just using it out of your home, but Logan says I've had my channel longer than he's been alive. Logan, it's the old stretched out leather belts that are a worry. Mine are all made from modern conveyor belting. It's much safer. Even the old guys learn new things at Steam School. Oh, yeah. There it's. I didn't know your John Deere D 1928. How's the old D going? Logan is 15. When I was 15, we had my grandpa's case. And then I had a Farmall C at the time. It was up at my grandparents' lake home where the case was. And I had a Farmall M, which had an interesting story, actually. Very generous story behind the first Farmall M that I had. It was a 1940. Um, I back when I was probably 12 or 13, there used to be this thing called a Yahoo chat. And Rudy's taking off. Thanks for stopping by, Rudy. Hopefully, I'll be over there possibly tomorrow night. So, possibly tomorrow night, I'll be over there in the shop working for you. So, you can do whatever you want at home. And public has to have license and inspection with ultrasound records on hand. Logan, you, Ben, are the future of this vintage tractor hobby. Absolutely. I got on your channel when you moved in your current house, just starting the H project. Yeah, this channel's been around a while. There's a variety of stuff in my earlier videos, some dumb stuff from, being a young kid, but um, a lot of motorcycle stuff too. Obviously some travel stuff, but Brian H is in the house. Darren's taking off as well. Good to have you, Darren. Take care. Evan says, when I was 15, we had an 8N4 and a VC case. VCs were the first years of production, right? Like 40 and 41 or something like that. Kenny's channel was created July 23rd, 2007. Yep, it's been around for a while. Almost 20 years I've been on YouTube. I can't believe it. Yeah, Brian, we got about 10 to 12 inches here where I'm at too. Anyways, so the story I was kind of in the middle of on this, my first Farmall M that I had. I was on this back when I was, like I said, 12 or 13. I was on this. Well, I had to be 14 because I was in high school. So I think I was 14 on this little Yahoo chat room, and we used to be able to do voice chat through this little chat room. Now, if I was 14, that would have been in the year 2000, 2001. So this was a long time ago, internet wise, back in the old America Online days. But, anyways, I got into this chat room. It was called Old Iron Chat. And it was me and a guy in Pennsylvania who I actually reconnected with a couple years ago, a guy in Mississippi, I want to say. I still remember his email in my head, his AOL email, and then a guy out in North Carolina. And, got to talking to these guys, got to know them. We're all old tractor nuts. I'm just a, 13, 14-year-old kid. And the guy in North Carolina thought it was very, very great that somebody my age was into old tractors and wanted to keep the hobby going and, wanted to preserve them. And he actually wanted to gift me a tractor that was for sale locally at a dealer. I can't remember the name of the dealer. But I think the tractor they were asking like $1,000 for the tractor, and he had worked out some kind of deal and had them deliver it to my parents' house while I was at school. And I came home and there was a tractor in the driveway. And that kind of really jump started. I mean, I was already into old tractors. I already loved working on my grandpa's tractors, but that really lit the fire for me was when somebody from across the country who had never met me, was to do something so generous and, amazing. But I'm not even sure if he's still alive. I know his name was Ozzie Smith, is what they called him. And when I say they, I mean the guys in the tractor chat that I was on. But I guess he was like a big, big property owner out in the Carolinas on the East Coast. And he owned a lot of farmland out there. And I'm pretty sure he was involved in government, like a senator or a house member, state house member or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I know he was fairly well to do out there, but I don't know anything else about him. And unfortunately, I lost contact with him through some of my parents' struggles of losing their house and being evicted from places they rented and things like that. So I kind of bounced around from home to home, and we never really had internet where I could stay connected with that chat room, and I never had his email address or anything. So it kind of sucks that I wasn't able to keep in contact with him. And I've tried to look and ask about him through the other guys I've reconnected with, but they don't really have much information that they can give me. So I don't know. I don't know how else to look for the guy if he's even still around. Logan says I've actually gotten in trouble multiple times at school for going through Tractor Data, Tractor House, and similar websites when I was supposed to be doing work. Yeah, you need to do your schoolwork, bud. Brian H., I was still spinning records at that age. Vinyl and 8 tracks. Barrett said his first car was a 67 Beetle with 8 track. That'd be a fun little car. Used to get in trouble for smoking cigarettes in the welding booth. Oh, there was kids that smoked more than cigarettes in our welding booth. I never did. Nope, I wasn't part of that crowd in high school. I was pretty straight laced, and I wanted my work to get done, and after school I went to work. So Logan, do your homework and learn everything you can. Make sure you can apply everything you learn. Very important, especially, yes, math is very good. I was never somebody that enjoyed math. I'm not bad at it. I didn't. I originally started college to be an engineer, and I didn't enjoy it. It was not. I didn't want to hate the next 40 years of my life, so I was like, I can't do this, So vintage tractors weren't even on my radar until I was a whopping 32 or 33. And my dad and I went to the Sunbelt Ag Expo in Moultrie, Georgia. Watched the vintage tractor parade and was hooked. Yeah, it's usually how it starts. We used to surf Craigslist and BizMan for stuff for sale. Our shop teacher didn't care. That's when I bid on my Minneapolis U. Yeah. I've been posting on yesterday's tractors forums since 1997. That's when I started posting on their forums. I was 11 years old. Only lasted a few months. Valve cover fell off driving down the road and caught the magnesium engine on fire. Yikes. We have shop class, small engines, and an auto mechanics class. And when the snow melts, we'll have our car club after school. Hey, that's awesome. We never had a car club. They actually did away with a lot of the vocational tech programs at the high school I went to, and now it's all STEM stuff. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. They built a whole new department at my school for that. I didn't go to high school, but I got my GED before my class graduated. Well, that's good enough. Good enough diploma, right? My first tractor was an Alice B that was given to me by my family friend when I was 12. Yeah, mine. Our first official was our Farmall C, but my parents bought that to both clear snow at the lake property that my grandparents had because my grandpa had passed, and his 2 tractors were in very bad disrepair. So my parents just bought that one both for that and because I was into tractors, but that was probably our first official one. And then I drug the Case SC out of the weeds and got that going, and it just spiraled from there. I go to school in the cities, a lot better schooling down there, and it's all vaping at my school. There was one time when I was walked into the bathroom to see like 20 kids all crammed into one bathroom stall. Well, they probably weren't vaping tobacco. It was probably vaping marijuana extract or whatever. Heck, you have a lot more mechanical classes at your school than I ever did. If you can bring something in to work on, working on your own things in the shop makes the days go better. True. Hyatt says he would have been a genius mechanical engineer. Do you ever wish you could go back and do that course of study? Well, it's not too late. I mean, I did get a bachelor's and an associate's degree, but I don't have. I'm a physical person. I don't like to sit behind a computer. I mean, ironically, here I am, right? But I don't like to sit behind a computer, and I don't enjoy just working out mathematical problems. It's not my thing. Um, I'd be a better like test engineer or something where I actually get to use the equipment and think of ways to make it better, which isn't a bad thing, but it's probably a lot more difficult position to get into being a test engineer, but also probably fairly risky. But I wouldn't want to engineer new stuff. I like working on the old stuff. That's another thing. Can engineer new parts for old stuff, I guess. But that's actually what I started school for, was mechanical engineering. And I could have just piggybacked off my roommate because he was going for chemical engineering and he was a couple years ahead of me. So I could have just, you know, asked if he'd help me with my homework, and he would probably be more than happy to because, one, it would give him more practice on what he was forgetting for, starting to learn new stuff. And yeah, I mean, I don't regret it, but because I love what I do now, being a corrections officer, I love it. Vaping is worse than cigarettes. I think that's probably true. Inhaling water vapor is not exactly good for you, I don't think. I'm an avid woodworker, so I printed a photo and made a special frame for the photo. Heck yeah. Brian, yeah, I knew you were an engineer. I remember you telling me that you were an engineer. And the furthest I ever made it in math was 4 days of trigonometry, and I was like, yeah, I don't enjoy this. Pete says that short you had out about Altman Taylor that looked like a 3060 with front exhaust. I really was just guessing. I took that last summer at Albany, and I tried watching the video and comparing it to pictures I saw of other Altman Taylors. And if you look closely on the Altman in the video, there's a small 22 on the back corner of the. It's painted on, so I don't know if it's a 1922 or if it's a 22. 45? Is that what I put on there? Because I tried comparing it in the video to what I saw in pictures, and it looked kind of like a 2245, Plus, it had the 22 on the back, so I'm like, well, it could be a 2245. So that's just what I labeled it as. I'm really not sure what it is. I just know it's an Altman Taylor. Thing about engineers is, although they can design it, they usually need a backyard mechanic to actually make it work. Well, that can be partially true. Engineers spend 90% of their working time in documents. I write stuff all day long. Yeah, I'm a physical guy. That's not I would not enjoy that. One thing I want to mess with is AutoCAD and 3D printing to reverse engineer rare missing parts for old tractors. Heck, yes. I agree. Matt's going to take off. He's going to email me a link to this team engine when he finds it. All right, thanks. Thanks for stopping by, Matt. And I look for the email. I was gunning for civil engineering in my early college days, but me and my math didn't get along. Remember, Kenny, you're not too old to go back and do engineering. I don't think I'm going back. 6 years was enough. John Deere D 1928. Where and money? How much? Northwest Wisconsin, hour from Kenny for $1,000. We also have wood shop and general framing and construction class. They were supposedly throwing concrete around the class last Wednesday because that's safe. Yeah, concrete is pretty poisonous, so Grumpy Shop Teacher's here. How you doing, bud? I handle a welding and fab class. The Altman Taylor had 3 different exhausts. The 3060, a square like a Rumley, a front right exhaust, and the last had a left exhaust next to the operator platform. That's what mine has. Okay. Good to know. I guess you would know better than me because I don't know. Is it a 3060? I don't know. Hey, folks, glad this is still live. Hope all is well tonight. SC looks a little snowed in. Looks like my Farmall H in the snowbank. Yep. Bill, it is snowed in. That thing is not going anywhere for a while. There's a 3060 Altman Taylor on auction in Pennsylvania. Asking $5,600. Was a restored tractor that went through a fire. If it was closer, a friend and I would make it our new project. If I had the money, I would buy it. I wouldn't have the money to fix it, but I'd have the money to own it. Engine building basics and then Bion 1 and 2 class. I make microprocessor-based controls for building automation. I work for a large HVAC company. I can talk for hours on building automation for air conditioning. I bet. That's years and years of expertise that come flowing out. What age and grades are your students? How long have you been been a shop teacher? I did manage to find and buy an Oliver 316 semi-mounted plow to pull behind my 1555. Supposedly kind of a rare and a very uncommon plow to find. It's always good finding rare stuff. Won't flow out for long. I retire in 45 days. That's something to look forward to. Well earned. Congratulations. Better yet, grumpy shop teacher, do you still have all your fingers? Hint, my handle says it all. Logan, looks like we need to get you playing in the dirt. We had an Aldman Taylor that was donated to Hungry Hollow 7 years ago that still hasn't shown up from somewhere in northern Minnesota. Last we heard, it was dumped in a swamp by the truck driver. Oh boy. Also a threat on Smokestack. Oliver plows are hard to find in general. Well, you're probably right on that one. If you make it to Rolog, coffee's on me. I'll be there before and after the show. If I make it there, it'll have to be decaf. I don't drink caffeine anymore. I gave it up. Dave's taking off. Thanks for stopping by, Dave. Appreciate it. Any of you guys put 14.9s on a W6? I didn't realize 1430 is actually 16.930 in the new size. I bought a pair of 14.9s thinking a little more clearance under the fenders might actually be okay. Brian says he's scared out of his mind. Not that I'll run out of money, but I will run out of stuff to do. You know, everybody I talk to that I worked with that's retired says they're busier now than they were when they were working. Because everybody knows you're not doing anything, so would you like to do this for me? Would you like to help me with this? You know, those kinds of things happen, I think. Truck driver got in an argument with the owner about pay after it was loaded. Oh boy, that's not good. My W6 had 14.9s on it, and it still didn't have much clearance. There are only about 150 Altman Taylor 3060s left. Most are in Minnesota and California. Interesting fact. Same thing with me, Brian. I think I'll be working part-time at the shop. I don't think it's good to just completely stop working. I think that's when people tend to degrade quickly in their physical condition. So I recommend people do something, even if it's just your hobby. It doesn't have to be work, but as long as you stay working, you know what I mean? Stay physically active, stay working. So it'll be Dad in the 1466 front wheel assist pulling a 7-bottom international, my brother on the 966 pulling a 416, and me on the 1555 pulling a 316. Should be doing 7, 11, 14 rows at a time. 14 furrows at a time. Hyatt's trying to come from Florida and go to Rolog this year. Loved the Now Then experience last August and got to meet some really awesome YouTubers. Not to mention that I also got to drive my dream RC tractor. It's your tractor. You should be excited. We got to get that oil pressure line figured out. I still have to check out a new gauge and line. Get the brakes apart because after it wouldn't move, coming out of the garage, there was obvious attention that the brakes need, so we'll take those apart quick and clean them out. The clutch needs to be adjusted. I think the governor linkage needs to be adjusted. So not a bunch of major stuff, just little piddly stuff. And then we got to fix the hand crank mechanism, which I think will probably be the hardest part of it. So, but we'll get it done. Once it gets nice, won't be a problem. And we got more daylight too, so. Hyatt, in 2 months, you got to get to the museum and drive the Waterloo Boy. Hyatt says, I'm eligible for retirement in 27 months. Not that I'm counting or anything. Yeah. I don't ever wish to be retired, but I definitely, it's a goal to work towards for sure. And if you thought Now Then was great, you're going to be overwhelmed at Rolog. Fun fact, at one point in farm equipment history, Oliver had the best plow money could buy. You could plow at 7 miles an hour, go jump on the International and John Deere guys as they had to plow at 5 miles an hour. Hey, Kenny, I ended up finding another HM46 lister like the one I have in the shop right now. Might get it and make both into a 4-row for the M. That would be cool. See, that's engineering right there. Larry, you are right. I so badly want to experience driving a Waterloo Boy. That, I've never done that, and I mean, I've driven a couple of very interesting and rare pieces, but never a Waterloo Boy. I got to drive Glenn Westfall, the late Glenn Westfall's Case 2040. I've driven the I think it's a 16 horsepower or 19 horsepower Avery at Now Then. I've also driven the third scale 65 at Now Then, or maybe it's 2/5 scale. 2/5 scale 65 case at Now Then. Driven an oil pull, not sure on the size. Bigger than a 1530. I drove Squatch's prototype crawler when it was at Now Then for the Minneapolis feature. Driven a TD6 crawler, I think. I've driven a few. Driven a 1926 John Deere D, and that's where I got hooked on the the pre-30 John Deere Ds. I mean, there was already like a bucket list tractor of mine, but yeah, that really cemented it. Yeah, it does take 3 days to see Rolog. It's, if you really want to experience it, it takes 3 days. Paul's taking off. Thanks for stopping by. Kenny, I think I asked you this before, but what happened to Glenn's tractor collection after he passed away? It's pretty much, to the best of my knowledge, it's pretty much maintained by his family and friends. That, I mean, he's got equipment all over the Midwest. Just, it's either stored at shows, or I think he had 3 buildings at his mother's house plus buildings at his house that were all full. And a lot of the collection came from his dad, I believe, and he's continually added to it. But there's so much equipment. I'm not sure if they did sell some things or not. I haven't heard anything about a sale, but the equipment, he was always a very generous person in him sharing and allowing people to run his equipment. And that was one of the best qualities he had. So he was willing to let other people learn and help in maintaining and and things like that. So it's too bad that he's gone. Pete says our tractors run on the 96 Alice Chalmers Expo button. It's a B Alice Chalmers and a D21. That'd be pretty sweet. I just saw the H was in the recent Steiner Tractor Parts mailer or newsletter mailer. Brian H says, I want to plow. I've never plowed anything. Someday I'd like to hook up a little Genius 2-bottom plow to a Farmall H and turn over some ground. Come on out. You can use the Suicide H if you want. Just got to find a plow day to take it to. Going to try to have it at Squatches. If I can get a trailer that's heavy enough, I may take our 1917 Maxwell artillery tractor to Rolog for the military feature. It has a Holt 5-ton crawler that Maxwell helped build for World War I. That would probably be a heavy piece of equipment. But it'd be very cool to see. I hope I get to go to Rolog this year because, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going. But it'd be a cool feature to be a part of, would be the American Veterans feature, military feature. Get your butt to Toby's plow day. You can run my TA diesel. There you go. I know that was a big thing for Connor when he rode that thing. That's like one of his dream tractors. Wish there was a way we could all share our text email information with everyone who would like to share. Got some good folks on here. Absolutely. Well, everybody's got my email that's on the YouTube page. So what we could do would be to start an email chain. Everybody would have to email me, then I'd have to create a message with everybody in the message, and then anytime you email back to it, you would just hit reply all. That way everybody can be part of the conversation. But I would get so lost in that. I only check my email probably once every 4 or 5 days now, as it is, unless something comes up with my daughter's school. But yeah, I get pretty behind in my emails sometimes. I try to, just because I'm working doubles. If I wasn't working doubles, I'd be able to answer stuff pretty frequently. But want to drive rarely tractors, got to get to the museum. Waterloo Boy, Happy Farmer, Grey Drum Drive, Huber Super 4, a Nilsson, Moline Universal, lots of fun stuff. Show is June 9th, 10th, and 11th in Wolford, North Dakota. We will have tractor plowing on Sunday at Hungry Hollow. Saturday will be steamers plowing. All right. And Hungry Hollow is in June, right? Am I right? When is Toby's plow day? It's in the fall. I want to say late September, early October, something like that. Is Hyatt Hans? No, Hans is Hans. Okay, so Hungry Hollow is the 24th and 25th of June. So the 24th will be steamers plowing. The 25th will be tractors plowing. Never plowed with a trip bottom plow. It's always been a hydraulic lift or 3-point mounted plow. Even the plow we pull behind the M in the garden is an International 6316 hydraulic lift. Oh, man. Back's getting sore from sitting hunched over. I think about 15 more minutes and we're going to call it on this evening's live stream. If it's the first weekend in October, I'm usually doing docks and lifts on Lake Osakis, making some extra money. So that's usually why I can't make it. Or I'm not getting the vacation time at the prison. So I would love to go. I'm sure hoping I can go this year. Because the H needs to get a couple of plowshares in the ground and start pulling. Funny, I've never pulled a hydraulic or 3-point. I've only used trip plows or old gang plows you stand on. Yeah, I've only used gang plows or rope trips. Never used a hydraulic plow. Got photobombed by my puppy. She's doing good. She's 6 years old. 6 years old now. So, can you get my number from Rudy? Yeah, or you can just email me and I'll give it to you. Well, I've got through 5 of the 6 overhaul catalogs online. Only left is 1927 edition. Awesome. This is why I like. Oh, it must be 6 international catalogs. Okay. This is why I like going to the Orange Spectacular. I like to watch them plow. Oh, yeah. Well, Rolog would be good for that. Andover, South Dakota would be good for that. Just don't tie the rope to your belt loop. Yeah, or your hammer loop on your coveralls or overalls. I did that, and my hammer loop went bye-bye when the when the plow caught a rock, and the hitch did what it was designed to do, and that's break away. So did my my hammer loop. Hyatt says we can all get together and help build Kenny's shop next year. Yeah, that would be nice. 1927 would have been the year of the regular, I believe. Well, regulars came out in 24. The experimentals were 23, and they came out for production in 24. And they were produced until 32, 31, 32, somewhere in there, because that's when the duckbill F20s came out. Mine, I use a John Deere rope holder that goes through the seat holes. Yep. It's a good way to do it. Or a little chunk of clothes hanger. Brian, if you've ever gone to the AC show and seen the Nebraska Test 220, that's my dad's. I'd be game for a shop raising. It's only like 6 hours away. Well, I'd have to have the concrete poured first, because I think it's probably more beneficial that I do a stick built versus a pole barn. Because if I put up a pole barn, well, Unless I spray foam it for insulation, I'd have to stud in the walls to do insulation anyway. So I might as well just do a stick built. Who's going to be at Red Power Roundup? I won't be, unfortunately. Anyone going to the Farmall show on Grand Island, Nebraska in June? Unfortunately, no. Pretty sure that's the Red Power Roundup. I saw that one time online. A guy tied his rope to his seat, plow hit a rock, broke away, and the rope took the seat right off his tractor. That would be alarming. Larry, if you don't mind me asking, who owns the tractors at your museum? Our shop is pole style. The floor is getting done next summer. Dirt floor gets along for a long time. Oh yeah, dirt floors are great for certain things, but it sure is nice to have concrete. I plan on having all my Farmalls there with their attachments. There's a Nebraska test tractor show this year at the testing center. Sweet. My grandpa took up woodworking after he semi-retired, so I've got tools coming out of every nook and cranny in our shop. That's okay. It's okay to have tools. What kind and how many permits do you think you'll need to build your shop, or are you in city limits? Technically, yes, I am in the city limits, so I'm gonna need all kinds of permits. Permits for everything. It'll be, oh gosh, probably, I don't know, $1,000 to $2,000 just in permits. I don't know. I'll be heading there empty. I'm in Canada and to cross the border with my tractors. I don't trust CBSA not to hassle on the way back. The museum was started by Dale Hawk in the late 40s or so. When he died, the museum was created to preserve his collection. Many have been donated since. People also store their own here too. That's kind of how it is at most shows. All the equipment that stays there isn't necessarily owned by the show. It's it's either stored there and owned by somebody, or it's been donated by a family to the historical power association that runs that show. Or there's all kinds of different ways, I guess. I will look for this tractor. I almost certainly go to the Orange Spectacular this year. My friend and I haven't missed it in at least 10 years. I liked it when I went, but I'm just not a big Alice guy. So I like looking at the older Alices. That was kind of where I gravitated to, like the pre-30s Alices. Museum collection was started in the 40s. He died in 83. Majority of the pieces there is the shows. I'd say 70%. Yeah. Brent says build it and pay the fine. Yeah, it'd probably be cheaper. It'd probably be cheaper to do it that way. Oh, hey. Love my little 1940 Alice B with no electrics. Fun little tractor. Yeah, they're nice little tractors. Nimble. I've got, I believe, 6 sets of 2-row front mount cultivators. I plan on making a 4-row out of 2 of those sets. I also use a set every year on my H for my farm operation. My good friend wants me to buy his 59 D14, and that would give me a retirement project. It definitely would. Nice thing about living on a farm is no permit. Yeah, I know. I've also got a 2-row HM46 lister I've been working on in the shop. That's cool. That's right. I just didn't you just mention that in our club chat on Facebook? You do the best live stream. I'm not saying that to get a blue wrench. Well, you got a blue wrench. I try to talk to everyone. I mean, that's the whole point of having the chat, I think. We've got a 1950M set up for cultivating with a 4-row cultivator off a 450. I would love to go to the Farmall show in Nebraska. I have a huge pile of Farmall carburetors for sale this year. Yeah, Brian does immaculate work on carburetors as well. He goes through and I think he powder coats them and everything. So good to know, Larry. It seems like that museum will be there for many more years. I hate to see museums close when the owner dies or retires, but your setup seems a little different. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Larry, but isn't there like a lot of different um, curators, I guess you could say, like maybe not curators, maybe that's not the right word, volunteers. A lot of different volunteers that um, help keep it going. Kind of had a moment there. He left 800 acres of farmland that we rent out that covers the bills, and that's how it's survived as long as it has. Well, that, rental helps. Income you need to keep things running. Hopefully, I can get a few Saturdays off this summer to make it to a few shows. This year, only went to 3 last year. My club show, another one 2 miles down the road in Eau Claire. Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I've got, I think, all the weekends in August off, so I'm going to be able to hit several shows. I'll obviously have my daughter with me, which is good, and I'll try to get as much video as I can, but I want to try to find some new shows that I haven't been to. The Le Sueur show I thought was a really good show. There's lots of interesting stuff there. So Brian says he often powder coats some of the carbs which he rebuilds. Usually in the summer, I don't like to powder coat in the garage when the big door isn't open. Yeah, probably the fumes and everything can get to you, I would think. We mainly run by volunteers. I am on the board of directors along with 7 others. We have one full-time employee who lives there and one part-time during the summer. Canada has good shows and great people, but it's a pain to get back into your own country. Yeah, well, I think that's probably a good thing, but at the same time, there's some borders that people don't seem to be caring about right now, but your daughter would love our show, and then she could play with my kids too. Absolutely. I'm going to try and make it to Hungry Hollow. I can't remember if I've got weekends off at the time or not. I might just be starting weekends off at that time. So, plus, I got to see the D, you know. Already got the hotel booked and days taken off for now, then this year. Awesome. Couple minutes here. We're going to shut her down. I'm starting to get heavy eyed. So I said 10:30 and it's 10:29. So Kenny, hope you can make it to the Lakehead Harvester reunion this. Hey, what weekend is that? Is that the first weekend in August? Ben, you going to Rolog this year? Maybe a lot of us can meet up with Kenny at Now Then this year. I will be at Now Then for sure. Next year I'll have my driver's license and a car, so I should be able to make it to more shows. That definitely helps. Where and when is Now Then? Now Then is in Now Then, Minnesota, and it is this year the 18th, 19th, and 20th of August. Thanks for stopping by, Tim. Appreciate it. Planning on taking a few days off for Rolog as well, Hyatt. Haven't been there yet, and I really want to go. You won't regret it, Ben. I'm telling you. Now Then is a great show. It's not insanely big. It's not tiny. There's still quite a few different demonstrations going on. Right now, you can still drive your tractors around a little bit, so that's good. Almaland, you can't really drive anything around unless you're going to a demonstration or you're going to the tractor pull or you're getting in the parade line. You pretty much don't drive nothing. So there's too many people, too many four-wheelers and side-by-sides rolling around. It'd be too dangerous. Brent's taking off. Brian's taking off. Weekend before Labor Day. So that would be like the 25th, 6th, and 7th. Should be able to make that work. Well, Tractor Hyatt, in about 2 years, you can take a whole month off of work and just hit the shows here in Minnesota. You could probably just, rent a cabin for a month and check out different shows, or rent, 4 different cabins or 5 different cabins in different areas and check out all the shows. I'd love to go to the Half Century of Progress show, but that won't be for a while. I hear that's a good show. If it's worth driving 8 hours, then it must be worth driving 7. Old Farm Junk 101's in the house. Too bad that we're just about to shut it down. How you doing, Richard? It's good to see you. Okay, well, 10:33. I'm going to start saying my goodbyes. I sure hope you guys had a good time, and summer's right around the corner. Show season's just about to start here at the kickoff of the Le Sueur Pioneer Power swap meet. So hoping I get to go to that. We'll see. I know I'll be working weekends, so the chances aren't good that I'll be going, but I can't remember if I've got vacation on that weekend or not. So if I do, I'll definitely go and bring the video camera along. And I know Rudy would really like to see me stop by, so I'll do my best. But hope everybody has a good evening and take care. Winter's almost over. Thanks for stopping in, even though it's late, I know. But take care, everybody, and I'm headed off to bed, so keep on wrenching. Pete, Hyatt, Ben, Barrett, Bill, Richard, everybody that's still here, good night. I'm out of here.